Due to the fact that some of the members involving this story are still living, I have concealed their names to protect their identity. Also, all material in this episode may not be suitable for all audiences, so viewer discretion is advised.
Ready?
Absolutely.
All right.
Oh, Peter, Lucy, thank you for coming. Please come in.
Hey, I'm Stacy, Lewis's wife. Nice to meet you.
Oh, the pleasure is ours.
We find what you're trying to accomplish tonight to be quite exquisite.
Well, thank you. Shall we get started?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right this way.
We heard what you two were doing, not only trying to contact the spirit world, but trying to scientifically prove that it exists. Well, we just couldn't pass that up.
I agree. We feel that the paranormal world has not been able to be properly represented through any scientific method until today, and we are very much grateful that we have this opportunity with you tonight.
We thank you for helping us with this.
It's a pleasure, it really is.
So are you both mediums?
Yes, we have been since we were very young children.
That must have been a hard childhood.
Well, it certainly was interesting.
Oh, what's the plan?
Well, that would spoil things. Now, let's prepare to commence communication. Let's all join hands now.
Oh. There's somebody here who would like to speak to us. She wants to know if it's okay.
It's okay.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth.
Hello, Elizabeth. My name is Peter. How are you doing tonight?
Quite well. It's lovely to speak with the living for a change.
So you know you're dead?
Oh, yes. It'd be quite difficult not to know. It's been quite some time since I've interacted with the living, though.
How long?
A very long time, dear.
19th century, maybe?
Yes, young man. I just wanted to say that those of us on the other side, we agree with what you're doing tonight. There should be more people concerned with what goes on the other side. Never really get used to that.
So what do we do now?
Well, we can take a look at the recorder, see what we found, and try to make further contact.
Oh, wow.
Peter, what does this mean?
That's a bunch of sage. From what I can tell, they approve of what we're doing. They got a voice to be heard, and I think they got something to say. The question is, what is it?
Everything that you just witnessed was inspired by true events. The idea of an afterlife has always been part of human life and human beliefs since the beginning of time. But is there an afterlife? Do we have souls? And when we die, do they go on? Well, there was a team in the little town of Scole, England that wanted to prove that there was an afterlife. They performed experiments over a 5-year span and got some damning evidence. Today we're going to be looking into those experiments and see if they really proved that there is an afterlife. and that this is not the only plane of existence out there. Today we're going to be looking into the Scole Experiments. Now, before 1993, nothing like the Scole Experiments had ever been thought of. I've had seances and gatherings of people trying to prove the afterlife, but never have they ever had a group of people trying to scientifically prove there is an afterlife through seances with the help of scientific evidence. So in 1993, of course, when the Scole Group, as they would later be called, they decided to go about this venture, they were chastised and ridiculed by their peers and other people around the world for trying to do what doubters called crazy. To others, they were proving something that they already knew deep down in their hearts was already true. So from 1993 to 1998, the Scole Group would meet twice a week over a 5-year span, holding seances, doing experiments, and trying to prove if there really was an afterlife. These experiments included guests that were mediums, psychics, scientists, reporters, professors, and anybody else that wanted to be a part of this groundbreaking experiment. Now, of course, what was going on during the Scole Experiments was a lot of mediumship, or more specifically, physical mediumship. And for the first time ever on Stories of Lore, we have a special guest to explain what mediumship is and what it means to be a medium, for those out there that aren't really sure about what it is. We have a special guest today here on Stories of Lore to talk to us a little bit more about mediumship and what it means to be one. Her name is Jeannie Velez, and she's been kind enough to speak to us today about what it is and what it means to be a medium. So, Jeannie, could you please tell us what does it mean to be a medium? What is a medium?
Well, hi, thank you for having me on the show. A medium is a person, like me, who uses intuitive abilities to see the past, present, and future events of a person by tuning in the spirit energy surrounding that person. So, in other words, we use spirit guides, archangels, etc., the presence of a non-physical energy outside ourselves for information relevant to the person being read, which then allows us to speak or communicate spirits that are deceased.
Could you please tell our viewers what the difference between a medium and a psychic is?
Sure. The difference between a medium and a psychic is a medium has the ability to communicate with spirits that are deceased. And a psychic is a person who has extrasensory. In other words, the heightened sixth sense. It's someone who is gifted in perceiving incoming information and it's normally overlooked. Psychics also use another extrasensory called psychometry.
Thank you very much. Also, could you share an experience that you've personally had using your abilities that sticks out to you more than any of the others?
Tell you about the one that still haunts me till today, and that I had about 6 months before 9/11 occurred. I dreamt that I was walking down the street when I suddenly look up and see a tall square building, and it was burning from the bottom all the way up. And as I was looking at the building, at the same time I could see myself looking at people jumping out the window. And then suddenly my dream jumps into me walking down the aisle as if I was getting married. And when my groom pulls my veil up, I see my childhood friend smile. And then I suddenly wake up not knowing what the dream is all about. Well, 6 months later, 9/11 happened, and my childhood friend died in that tragedy.
I give you my sincere apologies. I'm really sad to hear that.
Thank you.
And
I was ending the English before, so it was really hard for me, but yeah, that's the one that really sticks out.
yeah. For our last question today, what ultimately do you think about the Scole experiment itself? Do you think that they found some proof of the afterlife?
I don't think people were buying it. The fact that, the Scole mediums had all the control and didn't even allow the investigators or researchers to bring in recording devices to document. Not much could be proved. Now, I think that a lot of people, as myself, we really don't like seances, only because it's something like the spirit board that allows, to bring anything to the other side. So, as far as that goes, I think that people stop doing it for the reason that I said, that not much could be proved.
Well, thank you very much for spending some time with us today and clearing up some things that people may not have understood prior. If you would like, if you could go visit Jeannie's Facebook page, Reiki Healing, that would be greatly appreciated. The link for that will be in the description box below. So thank you again, Jeannie, for coming on the show today.
Thank you. You're very welcome for having me on the show.
For many people, places like these is known as their final resting place. But for others, like those involved with the Scole Experiment, it's the beginning of a new life, the afterlife. When the group was holding seances, they would witness multiple colored orbs that would float around the room, pulsating and emanating their own light source. They also performed experiments involving a camera. One of the first experiments they performed was bringing a camera into the room and leaving it on the table in the pitch black dark while communicating with the spirits, seeing if anything would happen. Something else they would do was they would place a camera or a roll of film in a metal box, close it, and lock the box while they were communicating. They would ask the spirits to place images on the film, and the spirits did not disappoint. These pictures are the results of what happened when the Scole team asked the spirits to place images on the film. They and others also believed that they were pictures of the spirit world and what awaits us on the other side. There were also some objects that were referred to as apports, which are items that appear out of thin air. Here is a slide of some of those items that appeared at the actual Scole Experiments. Now, of course, looking at photos like this found during the Scole Experiments raises a lot of questions, and it caused a lot of uproar in the community. People started asking, is there really life after death? Do we go on after we die? And are these people in the little town of Scole finding the answers to that age-old question? Not only did they have responses from the photographs, but the team also reported feeling the touch of these ghosts that would show up at the seances. And they reported it as feeling like a normal human would touch you, however it was cool to the touch, but not cold. During all of these experiments over this 5-year time span, a lot of the same spirits would show up at multiple seances. It almost became patrons, if you will, to the Scole group. They would show up at these seances multiple times with the same accents, same stories, and speak through the mediums at the seances. These spirits were so frequent, in fact, that they were referred to by the Scole group as the spirit team, and it was reported that they were in full support of what the Scole group was trying to accomplish and prove. Credited for saying that people should be more concerned about what awaits them on the other side. However, out of all of these claims and all of these photographs that I have shown you, there's still one photograph that causes a huge amount of commotion for everyone that looks on it and hears the haunting tale behind it. And it involves one of the greatest inventors of all time. This was the signature that matched that of the great American inventor Thomas Edison, who himself was interested in the paranormal and spirit communications himself while he was alive. Also reported that this signature appeared on one of the films that they recovered from the metal box. Members of the Scole group would also bring crystals, quartz crystals to be exact. Now quartz crystals are a huge component in the paranormal field. It is believed that these crystals have the ability to harness energy, or they have their own energy. Some people even believe they have healing powers. And what some of the members of the Scole group would do is they would ask the spirits present to illuminate the crystals, or to even go inside of the crystals. They reported that some of these same pulsating orbs that I described earlier would float from the top of the room onto the table and into the crystal, illuminating the crystal. Some of the crystals would also fly off the table. They would move or even levitate above the table. Now, we have talked about the Scole Experiment today, and the Scole Experiment itself may raise more questions than it does answers. A lot of what happened at the Scole Experiments made people think, and even some people believe, that there is an afterlife and that we do need to be concerned about it. And that the experiments, I will admit, they do have extraordinary claims, and with extraordinary claims you need extraordinary evidence. So now we're going to look into if we can disprove what happened at the Scole Experiments. Let's take first the photographs, for instance. Yes, some of these photographs were examined by professional photographers, and they claimed that these photographs were not tampered with at all. However, being locked in a box sometimes overnight could damage the film or the camera itself, resulting in odd photographs and film. Which, yes, that could explain some of them. However, if we look at the most famous of the photographs that were captured at the Scole Experiments, that containing the woman's face, we can see that, yes, maybe around the photograph where you see the ooze-like forms and maybe some of the shapes that you can't really make out might have been from damage or water damage or something along that nature. But if you look, that is clearly the face of a woman. There is no way that any kind of damage, water damage or any other for that matter, could make the perfect image of a woman's face. That just is not possible. And the fact that the photo wasn't tampered with means his face was not inserted later to cause commotion or uproar. It was in the original photo and film. Now let's talk about the mediums. The mediums that were at the Scole Experiments, they invited the spirits into their body in order to speak through the medium so that the spirits could communicate with the people at the Scole Experiments. This could be explained away, and according to some, have been explained away by just simply the medium acting. And maybe that could be. But why would somebody go to so much trouble to try and prove the afterlife just to have it be an entire huge scam? Everybody in this experiment went about it in a very professional and scientific way. There is nothing that screams hoax, there is nothing that screams sham, and there's nothing that screams that these people did not know what they were doing or were trying to fool the entire world. The Scole Experiment is a true gem in the paranormal community and proves that maybe there is something. And for those who don't think it proves anything, we can't ignore that it raises more questions than answers. And that maybe they were onto something. And maybe somebody now just needs to continue their work and fully prove that there is an afterlife and we have nothing to worry about after we die. I'm Justin Sisk, and this has been an episode of Stories of Lore covering the Scole Experiments. Hey everybody, if you liked what you saw today, then please don't forget to go down there and hit that big red subscribe button below. That way it really helps me and my cast and crew out. A lot of work goes into these videos. Everybody is just such a talented crew and cast I have. I couldn't ask for a better one. And it helps all of us out. It gets noticed for us individually and as a group and as a channel. Also, if you liked it, hit that like button, share it with all your friends, families, co-workers, cousins, brothers, sisters, everybody you know, or even kind of know. Because again, that gets us more exposure and it helps us out a lot. Also, if you go down below, there is a link to the Facebook page and the Twitter page and everything else that you want to follow. So go down there and hit the like button, hit the follow button for more behind the scenes stuff and upcoming episodes. And also a big thanks and shout out to Jeannie, who came on the show today, being our first expert guest, talking about mediumship and what it means to be a medium and how mediums can help people and what ultimately her views are on the Scole Experiment. So if you like, there is a link below in the comment section in the description box that is a link to her page on Facebook. It's called Reiki Healing, and please go check her stuff out. She's a great person and has offered to help out more with the show, so please support her as we are here at Stories of Lore. And like I said, I'm Justin Sisk, this is Stories of Lore, and I'll see you guys next time.